Hey, I'm Blizzard in at the hotel again, so that's why you haven't seen any videos. And there probably won't be another tomorrow night unless I get it uploaded, which I probably won't. That's probably going to be Thursday's video. The point that I'm trying to make is that I wanted to talk about what happened this weekend, and I don't want to discuss anything besides this one race. And it was so good. Not something I usually say on this channel, is it? Hey, we're turning things around over here. Um, I want to talk about the ARCA Daytona race because, I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. The ARCA Daytona race has been embarrassingly awful since like 2019, at least. It's been a pathetic race for a dying series, okay? And I'm not saying that wallpaper's coming off in the corner there. Um, I'm not saying that because I think we're going to be turning this around. I think this is a one-off thing. It might be fun at Talladega, later on this year, but I think the short tracks are going to be straight back to the same shit, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But this Daytona race, I was working, of course, because that's all I ever fucking do. I was working while it was happening, so I was able to see it without any audio behind the desk, right? And for the most part, it was not only was it competitive, wasn't not only was it a deep competitive field, but there was side by side racing the whole time. Now the problem is that ARCA is full of drivers who have absolutely no business being in race cars. It's like the Xfinity series, but worse, if you could believe that. But you see, the difference for this race between the Xfinity race, which I think was actually really fucking good. I watched it from behind the desk once again. I thought the Xfinity was actually really decent, the shit that I did see of it. I mean, the ending was shit. Um, what the fuck was I talking? The ARCA race, the problem with the ARCA race, and I watched the whole thing because I was bored out of my fucking mind working in the middle of the day. And there was a lot of stupid wrecks because, people that shouldn't be in this fucking series. People who shouldn't be within 100 feet of a full-bodied stock car are causing calamitous incidents, is what I'm trying to say, basically. But besides that, there was a lot of that. But besides that, when the race actually got to be under the green flag, it was pretty solid. And it came down at the end. The only two competitive cars in the field were Connor Mosack in the 18 for fucking Joe Gibbs Racing, who does not need a fucking ARCA team. And then the 20 of Jesse Love, who is going to be the champion. Just putting that out there. Of course, he was the second competitive car. Both of them got in wrecks, but both of them were still in the race at the end, but they were too far back to do anything. It came down to the 44 of Canada's Jason White, who was driving for basically what is the remnants of Morgan McClure. McClure is working with someone named Ferrier, and they put together a 44 car that I think was unsponsored, and Jason White was just like in town, he was in the truck race, so they were like, yo, you want to run this too? It's like, fuck it, sure. He was leading. He was leading. And in second was Greg Van Alst, who I've never talked about on this channel. And I think, even though ARCA is technically owned by NASCAR, it's not a NASCAR series. It's not like in the tour section. It's not one of the big three. It's not a regional series. It's ARCA, even though it's owned by NASCAR. So I think I could get away with talking about ARCA races on this channel. And it would technically, in the most technical sense, just legally, it would not be watching NASCAR. I think I can watch ARCA. ARCA in theory should be the best series of anything besides like SRX, but you see the problem is that NASCAR owns it now. So it's fucking awful. But not this Daytona race. So Greg Van Alst. Let me give you a summary of Greg Van Alst. This man is a dad twice. Okay. He ran like one race in 2002 and then his wife popped out a kid, so he was like, shit, now I have to work for a living. So he started a fence company. A fence company. I want this man to build my fucking fence. I'm a fucking homeowner now. I don't know if the condo association would let me build a fence, but fucking A, if they let me, I'm calling that man. I'm calling Greg Van Alst to build my fence. And basically, his kids were old enough and he had enough money that he was like, fuck off, I'm done building fences for now. Well, actually, no, he still builds fences, but I'm gonna be a racer now. And he started some late model series and won the championship in 2021 in that late model series on a shoestring budget. So he was like, God damn, that was easy. I'll fucking go to the ARCA now. And he built some ARCA cars. And like, he was moderately relevant last year. He did better than Jank. If you don't know, Andy Jankowiak is my favorite ARCA series driver. And I've reached out to him twice to try to sponsor him. And he has responded to me 0 times. Maybe I'll just sponsor Van Alst. I bet his rates are going to go up now. I bet his fucking rates are going to go up now. I'll just call Greg. But anyway. He was like, what was it like? Well, he ran part-time, but like he was always like in the top 10 when he ran races. He was always just behind all the fast fuckers. You know, all the people that actually have a chance at winning races. But he was very good last year in ARCA when he was, you know, at a short track. This man, I don't know if he's going full-time. I don't know if he's going full-time, but this man was second place on the backstretch, and they were running laps. I think it was a green-white checkered finish with like 3 laps or 2 laps to go, and he was just hanging out. And then on the backstretch, he goes to the outside of Jason White, side drafts some motherfucker, I don't remember what happened off the corner, but I think they got side by side behind him. So no one could catch him. And Greg Van Alst, the guy you've probably never heard of before today, or that day anyway, won the fucking ARCA race at Daytona, and fucking Jank got wrecked. He was wrecked right before that restart. And so was Dale Quarterly. That was the most... Man, Jank and Dale Quarterly wrecked and damaged. Hopefully, both of them can make a full recovery by their next race. I think Quarterly's full-time this season, and he's going to try and make the truck race at Circuit of the Americas. Maybe I'll sponsor him. Because fucking Jank won't answer me any fucking way. Not the point of this video. Greg Van Alst won that race, and he had one of the greatest interviews of all time on the front stretch. And there were people sitting in the lobby, and I wanted to fucking scream when that man crossed the line first, because, I mean, Jason White would have been fine, but, I mean, Greg Van Alst was, like, my second favorite ARCA driver last year, and it was, like, you know, that was all right. And, I mean, the race itself was great. Like, there were so many competitive drivers. Jank was fast. I think he led some laps. Dale Quarterly was up there fighting for the lead. Frankie fucking Muniz from fucking Malcolm in the Middle is full-time in ARCA, just casually. He led some laps, I'm pretty sure. ARCA could be fun this year, but I have the strongest sensation that it's not going to last. Like, this is going to be a one-off thing. But, you know, it's an inkling that I got. But that was fucking great. Van Alst, fucking... front stretch interview was fantastic. I mean, it was probably the greatest moment in any ARCA race. I mean, Closest thing you would probably have to say would be like Ryan Unzinger's dirt track wins over the past couple of years. But like dirt tracks in ARCA are kind of not nearly as, wild and interesting, even close to Daytona. Like, that's been a bunch of boring Daytona winners and Talladega winners for a long time. This is probably the most interesting plate race ARCA winner in a long time, as long as I've been watching regularly. Who's the most interesting winner that I've personally watched win an ARCA race? I can't think of anything, man. I didn't watch the one that Landon Lewis won his first start. But, like, he's 16. He was 15 when he won that, so it's like, whatever. It's not nearly as interesting as some old dude who's literally worked his entire life to get where he's at. Just the ultimate fucking victory. And to think that this man literally worked, like, as a fencer for a decade. 2 decades, nearly. His first race, what was it? I think it was 2002. That was fucking 20 years ago. That he literally worked his entire life to get where he's at. And like that's fucking awesome. Like, I mean, that's way fucking better than whoever the fuck, is racing for Venturini this week. Whatever dime a dozen rich kid Toyota development driver that's gonna fizzle out within the next 2 years, just going like, oh yeah, oh man, the Venturini number 25 Toyota racing development team, they put together a good car for me. I've got another 10 starts and you'll never see me again. Maybe I'll make a couple of truck starts and then I'll never be heard from for the rest of my, next 10 years, and then you'll find out I'm working as a real estate agent, That shit. And then a bunch of drivers who should have that career and instead stick around for another decade doing butt fuck all, wasting space in good equipment that guys like Greg Van Alst could get in. I want to see him in the truck Talladega race. I want to see him. I mean, I would want to see him in something better than a Rayum truck, but I mean, Josh Rayum, call up the man. He knows how to get it done. He wasn't content to finish. He wasn't content to just sit there. He knew how to make the pass happen. And like, half the time with these fucking races, they call a caution on the goddamn backstretch. Like, this man, he fucking took the win. He took it. And he fucking, I mean, it's just inspirational is what it is. Like, it just comes down to the fact that this man worked for 20 years to get where he's at, and he got a win at fucking Daytona to show for it, and now he's the ARCA points leader. So, Greg Van Alst championship season. Please. I'm serious, man. And you got there's just so many people there. Like, you got the Pedroncellis in the West Series. He finished second in West points, I think, a couple years ago. And then everyone else, you got Jank. You got, man, there's not a whole lot. There's not a whole lot of them, especially lately. But, I guess Todd Souza counts, but he's kind of a dick waffle, so I don't really count him as someone that I would personally want to succeed as an underdog driver. That's just me, but, So that's really all I want to talk about. I know Stenhouse won the Daytona 500, so he's going to extend his mediocre, pointless career for another half decade. I'm sure. And probably another full decade for all we know, yeah. The guy that should have been out of a ride several years ago, and his career has been hanging on by a thread because of his championships that he won against a mediocre Sam Hornish Jr. and Elliott Sadler. Like, oh man. Wow, what an accomplishment. And Justin Allgaier at Turner Motorsports, of all teams. Turner fucking Motorsports. Like, really? Oh man, you beat Turner Motorsports. Wow, what an accomplishment. Anyway, I've never liked Stenhouse. Never. I remember one of I watched the 2011 Homestead race, and like Stenhouse was driving like a complete jackass in that race, and I'm sitting there like, this fucking guy's winning this championship. Are you serious? Yeah. And yeah, I don't know, man. Hopefully it's a good season of ARCA. That is this video. I'm tired. Thanks for watching. Bye. Please stop.